we on?
Yeah.
Awesome. Welcome. Welcome to Wildstorm Studios. My name is Richard, and welcome to our first live stream birthday celebration for Wildstorm Studios and the official launch of the Discord server for the miniature painting community of Southern Africa. So yeah, I hope you guys will enjoy your experience here on the Discord, experience on the YouTube, and look forward to having you guys participate and immerse yourselves in this wonderful art form. Right, so just to give you a bit of a background, my name is Richard, as I mentioned earlier. and I am a full-time miniature painting artist in South Africa. I am also the owner of Wildstorm Studios, the retail store, and for me, it's been a wonderful and interesting journey to get to this point. But I'm excited for the next evolution, and this is where the latest storm hits the shores of South Africa. What we're going to do today is we've got a bumper live stream for you guys. So we've got, to keep the focus on miniature painting in South Africa, we're going to have an artist introduction, or an artist spotlight, if you will. And we're going to introduce you to Warren, who is, in my opinion, one of the top artists in the country at the moment. Then we're going to swap over to a fantastic interview with Novak from Team Sausage Designs, with an awesome Kickstarter campaign that he's been working on with his partners. And then after that, we'll move on to an interview with TinToy Productions, Duran, who've been working on a documentary on the miniature painting community and the benefits of miniature painting. And then we'll culminate with the announcement of the latest big brand to arrive on the Wildstorm Studios catalog, and the announcement of a giveaway, and we'll then hopefully be wrapping up at about 5 o'clock. Don't hold me to that. But yeah, let's kick away and move on to the first sort of section, which is just to discuss the Discord and the Patreon and how that's all going to work. So my goal for Wildstorm Studios is to, or rather for the Discord server, is to create a South African paint-centric community for painters, for gamers, for guys who are into the hobby, for anyone who's in a creative spirit, to join the community and be able to immerse yourself in a number of channels, topics, and learn, and as I've been saying, motivate, share, inspire, and explore. So to give you a breakdown of how that's going to work, if you go onto our Patreon page, you'll see that we have 3 tiers on offer. So tier 1 is what we're calling the caffeine supporter. It's basically a $1 monthly subscription. You are pretty much sponsoring a cup of coffee to me as the painter and the guy running Wildstorm Studios, and to keep me awake through those long painting hours. And what you gain access to is 11 topic channels. Now, one of the things that I'm really proud of, and it's something I'd like to pay a compliment to Albert, who has been behind the scenes working on this whole Discord, and he's, in my opinion, built probably one of the most robust and fleshed out Discord servers for this community that I've seen, probably globally. But that's quite a statement to make. But anyway, what we've done is we've created multiple channels that concentrate on particular topics. So everything from a beginner's corner to creative discussions to a showcase corner. There's also the gallery section, which will show you a gallery of my work. It will be a gallery of Warren's work that we're introducing you to today. Past Thunderbrush winners. Thunderbrush is the painting contest that we host as Wildstorm Studios, and it's my sort of aim to produce a miniature painting contest that rivals the likes of Golden Demon, but yeah, based in South Africa. So there's a lovely gallery there for you guys to take a look at. So on a tier 1, you gain access to 11 topic channels. You gain access to hobby hangouts. So if ever you're painting online one night and you want to share the time with 4 or 5 other friends, you can then do so. And you also get early access to any new products, any new information, or any new announcements happening on the platform and in the community. Then we've got tier 2. Tier 2 is at the $3 mark, and that's what we're calling the Storm Chaser level. Now, with it being Wildstorm, Storm Chasers are what I want to sort of title as the people who drive the community and push the painting side further. So with the tier 2, you get access to 22 channels. So we've now broken it down to having channels like a support group. There's also 3D printing, there's 3D sculpting, because it's become such a popular topic within the miniature painting community. But yeah, so you're getting access to 22 channels, you're getting access to the hobby hangout, you get access to the early access on information, but you also get to then join us for the live streaming. And we've got a lot of plans and a lot of goals for the live streaming. We hope to do a lot more of these sort of interviews that we're going to conduct today. We want to do a lot of sort of product showcases, and of course the most obvious, which is the live painting session. So you can follow along and learn from painters like myself and from the other painters that we want to introduce you to. And one of them, of course, will be today with Warren. Then you also get access to the competitions and giveaways that we'll host on the Discord server. And to top that off, you then also get access to our YouTube channel with all the pre-records of the live streams that we've done. So if you miss one of the live streams, you can then still gain access to them on the YouTube membership. And then we move over to tier 3. And tier 3 is the $10 Thunderbrush category. And what we've got there is pretty much exactly the same that you get on tier 2. But on tier 3, if you are a painter who's wanting to improve their skills and spend a bit more one-on-one time with me, the tier 3 option allows you a 2-hour live stream private session one-on-one with myself every month. And that way we can then work on any skills and any improvement that you want to make on your painting prowess. And once you feel that you're confident and comfortable with that, you can then drop down to tier 2. We've only got 10 spaces available. I think 2 of those spaces have already been taken up. So if you are interested in that tier level, make sure you sign up as quickly as possible because there's only 10 spaces available on the tier 3. But yeah, I want everyone to understand that the Wildstorm Discord is not meant to be a Richard project. It's not meant to be just about me and my painting skills and my passion and joy for the art form, but it's more so to drive forward the South African painting community and to get guys to be able to connect, network, share, and grow. And we've seen that already happen with our WhatsApp community, with our WhatsApp group that we initially started off with. But that group, of course, grew so large that we felt that the best thing to do was move to the Discord server. So I, for one, am excited for this next evolution. We hope that you'll join us for the ride. And like I keep saying, share, motivate, explore, and hopefully be inspired. So with that, we're going to move on to the first part of the live stream, and I want to introduce you to Warren. Warren is a long-term supporter of Wildstorm Studios. Warren has been not only a friend, but he was also the very first location where we hosted our very first painting classes. How many years ago was that now?
Yes, sir. We've been open for 10 years now, so it's about 8 years ago.
Yeah, it was a while back.
Right from the beginning, you were one of the first people to walk in the initial.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, when you were based at the old store, right near the library here in Sunset West, and then you've progressed 2 times since then, huh?
Yes, we've expanded twice. Yes.
Yeah. So Warren was one of the first guys I met when I moved down to Cape Town, and we struck up a friendship. Warren owns his own hobby store, so that's where the friendship sort of grew. And then when we started getting feedback from a lot of folks who wanted to sort of have a painting class, Warren then approached myself to have those painting classes, and it started off with a small group of about 4 or 5 people. And this is where I'm quite proud of the fact that it's now grown to close on about 100 people, and hopefully will continue to grow. So Warren, welcome to the live stream.
Hi everyone, cool. Richard, thank you for having me here. As you said, I'm Warren. So tell us a little bit about yourself, about your look. At the end of the day, this particular interview is to introduce everyone to you as an artist, because in my personal opinion, I've always seen that you've had a talent for painting miniatures. You've got a distinct style when it comes to color choice and how you paint. And then at the same time, the part that drives me up the wall the most is the fact that you're such a damn prolific fast painter. I tend to be very sort of methodical and slow and go through the process over a bunch of weeks or months on some projects, whereas Warren pumps them out on a daily basis. So tell us a little bit about your painting side. This is what the focus is of today's discussion. Painting side. So I've always been involved in geek culture. Come from a big family of jocks. I've always been sporty and everything like that, but my true love was always sci-fi, fantasy, stuff like that. Started playing Dungeons and Dragons when I was probably about 8 years old. And back in those days, we had a couple of miniatures, did a mess around and stuff like that. And then decided to go around the world for a bit, came back and decided I need to do something I love. And I know that times are tough, the world is tough, and things are tough, and the saying is starving artist. So I went into my own business, retail business, to fuel my hobby. I play the board games. I mean, I sell board games, I sell trading card games and stuff like that, and I sell painting stuff. But my whole goal was for something that I enjoy. Yeah. I think that's where I sort of understand where you're coming from, because for me that was the whole purpose of Wildstorm Studios, was to address the problem with regards to what I found, which is that painting centric products and tools that are designed for the miniature painter weren't readily available in the country, and if you did want to get them, you ended up having to order them from overseas.
Yes.
And then you had the other joy that us South Africans have a very keen sense of understanding, and that is the delays in shipping and the exorbitant costs in shipping fees. So that's where I wanted to have Wildstorm Studios sort of address that issue. But like you said, at the end of the day, it was also to more so supplement myself so that I could then become a starving artist. So I like to call myself a professional starving artist. I don't just starve as a hobby, I starve for a living. So all good. But yeah, all right. So let's chat a bit more about your painting style and your sort of techniques and what you enjoy painting. So let's get onto that first. What do you enjoy painting the most? What are the things that appeal to you?
I don't have a specific thing I like painting. I go from your normal small miniature models, like the Games Workshop models, to busts, to bigger things. Not big into the gaming side of it.
Okay.
Been playing the Marvel game lately. I love that. But that's because it's smaller, it's quicker, it's easier, and it gives you enough time to do other things. But when it comes down to painting, I love everything. I just love painting.
Yeah.
I have a background in art.
I was going to say that. Yeah.
Which was, I would say, one of the worst things I did.
Okay.
Because I absolutely was dismal at art. I studied art for a degree, and all I got every day was, "You are terrible." Every day. I did something nice, I painted something I liked, and they said, "No, what you're supposed to be doing is throwing paint at a paint thing with your eyes closed and doing a back somersault." And I'm not into that. Other people are. Everyone has their own style.
Yeah.
And I found that there is one rule to this hobby, and that there's no rules.
Yeah.
Wait.
Fully agree.
Wait.
Well, yeah.
Thin your paints.
And two thin coats.
Yeah.
As our good man Duncan Rhodes would say.
Yes.
How's it to Duncan if we ever get the opportunity to have him watch this video? But yeah, I agree with you. For me, that's where the appeal comes in with miniature painting, is that although there are hundreds of techniques and there's hundreds of processes and hundreds of different approaches to painting a miniature, there generally isn't a set rule to painting miniatures. And that's where the joy of the sort of artistic expression comes to play. And that's what I enjoy the most, is the fact that you can have the same model and give it to 10 different people and allow them to all paint it in whatever style and whatever approach they want, and you'll end up with 10 different results.
When you have someone walking up to you and say, "No, orcs are green, not blue."
Yeah.
Like, well, really? Have you seen an orc? When last did you meet an orc? It's what you want, how you want. It's you do what you love.
Yeah.
And if you love it, people will see that love it.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what color the thing is, what style the thing is. If you don't get me wrong about the Jackson the Dripper Pollock kind of thing.
Yeah.
People like that. I do like that, but it's not my style.
Yeah.
So always be who you want to be.
Yeah.
Do what you want to be. If someone says, "No, it shouldn't be like that, it should be like this," you said, then that's fine. Take your own version, take that model, and do it the way you want to do it.
Absolutely.
Don't try to put me or anyone else down because we do something different. Do it the way you want it.
Yeah.
And that's
I think what I want from the Discord community and the Wildstorm sort of environment is that this is an art form and therefore should be treated as such. So there's no space for being judged or being judgmental. There's no space for being critical. There's no space for rules and the way you should paint or the way you should be using a particular tool. At the end of the day, it's about art. It's about enjoying yourself, about being free to express whatever creative skills you want to bring to the table.
Yes.
And the other thing that I've always enjoyed was a motto I picked up over the years, which is it's not about perfection, but more so about completion. And that's actually just finishing the work, being proud of what you've achieved, and then move on to the next one, rather than being so fussed about getting that one single project absolutely perfect. So that's always been one of my approaches. Now, when you paint, what is generally the sort of paint brand that you use? Is there a particular one that you stick to? And what would you class your sort of painting approach as?
So with the equipment I use, I'm a big fan of army painting. I really enjoy it. There are higher end brands, there are lower end brands, but for me, they are all not that much of a difference between them. That you can, if you know what you're doing, people won't know. I enjoy the Army Painter. I've got a lot of it. I started with Citadel. I've tried Scale 75. I enjoy that as well. But I enjoy the process.
You're
I
not
enjoy the
stuck
process.
on a brand and a particular paint style.
Yes, and I will use a stick and mud if I have nothing else.
If you could do it,
Yeah. As long as I do it my way. I'm very, I think the word is graphical. I like cartoony a lot of times. I do have a lot of things that are realistically styled. But my fun is getting, if I'm painting Marvel, I want it in the Marvel comic book world. If I'm painting 40k grimdark, I want it grimdark style. I like changing, I like doing different things, but truly my palette is comic graphic, but with a bit of realism in it.
I think that's what I've picked up in your particular style, and that's why for me it always stood out so much. Because I could see first of all that art background was coming through, because I could see that you had a very distinct color selection. And that you had a very good idea of the technical side of applying paint. Okay. Forgive us as the shed door just slammed shut on us. We forgot to close that, so forgive us for that one. But yeah, so if we sort of take a closer look at some of your work, like I say, what appeals to me about your work is the high saturation and the bright colors that you like to work with. And like you say, it's got a very sort of comic sense and a comic style to it. The other thing that always stands out to me about your painting styles is that you aren't so perplexed about being perfect. So you're not always aiming for that perfect blend and that perfect smooth coat, as I tend to want to be. And that to me, that's something I've always found is that guys who are creative tend to envy those that replicate what they can't replicate. If that makes sense. I myself would love to be a bit more free and a bit more expressive and not worry about the perfect finish. And I think that's why I envy you, because you're able to paint faster, paint it out, but still come out with this masterful finish. And not be so perplexed about getting it absolutely perfect.
I find sometimes I do display pieces, and then I will go into that way of thinking and that way of painting, and that is great. It is fun. I do enjoy that. But for me, I think it's patience. It's patience.
No, there I think is one topic that I'll before you get lost on your train of thought. The one thing that for me is the most crucial thing of this whole hobby is patience. People tend to get very impatient because they're not getting the same finish as the people they're trying to emulate. They get impatient because they want it finished faster. Patience is one of those very key elements that you need when painting miniatures.
The learning from other artists is very important. And watching what they do, looking at how they paint things, is a great way to learn. And a good thing to do is sometimes copy and paste. But while doing that, you learn what they've done, and you bring it into your own world. You bring it into your own style.
I think that's the biggest key is learn and absorb and be inspired by others, but at the end of the day, take it in as your own style and what appeals to you the most. I think that's one of the key things is when guys are learning all these tons of techniques and processes, they shouldn't try and emulate the person that they're copying, especially when you guys are copying artists like Banshee and Ben Comets and Roman Lapat, and then you get frustrated because you can't emulate their work. And a lot of people tend to forget those guys have been painting full-time for 20, 30 years and are at the top of their game. And then people get all frustrated because they can't emulate. It's more so a case of learning from that individual, but applying what works for you and what suits you.
Very much so. Very much so.
Right. Well, what I really wanted to do is sort of pay a bit of focus to one or two of your pieces that have always stood out to me. So we've got the Deadpool bust here. I'm going to see if I can get a close-up of it for you guys so that you guys can sort of get a general scope of the size of him. But otherwise on the side of the screen you should see a close-up of it. So talk me through this particular bust and your approach and what you loved about painting this particular bust.
So with this one, I actually had a painting class
Okay.
with this, and we 3D printed. Some guy 3D printed a whole bunch of them for us, and everyone at the class did the same model. And it was very beautiful to see the different ways and different takes on it. I went very much with the color scheme from the original comic books.
Comic color scheme, yeah.
Yeah, but it's fun. I mean, it's not many colors, but you can do a lot with limited colors. You don't need everything on things.
Yeah.
Sometimes too much is too much.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, that's the thing that I've always been a strong component of is you don't need to have the entire paint range of a particular paint brand in order to paint.
Yes.
That you actually can sort of grow further by painting with a limited palette and learning how to then mix up the colors and broaden your understanding of color theory.
Yes.
Rather than just painting by numbers.
So yeah, color theory, that's another subject that people seem to have a problem with me on.
Yep. Yeah.
I've got
like I said, I know exactly where you're going with this, because you tend to, like I say, you tend to go where everybody else is going left, you tend to go right.
Yes.
And that's for me why your style has always been so distinct, because you have a very particular choice of colors at times that really I would never expect myself to ever choose, but when you do, it seems to just fit perfectly.
Yeah, I do. I've been many a times. Friends and family have said I paint as if I'm on acid or something.
Yeah, I've heard that expression before.
I like color. I like brightness, and I like mixing things up that shouldn't be mixed.
Yeah.
I like the whole idea because you can make things work. Like I said, orcs can be blue. They don't have to be green.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And they work out. I just like experimenting and throwing things together.
Yeah.
And if you want to try something and you want to do something, don't be scared of it.
Yeah.
If it doesn't work out, you can try something else later. And you find your own spot. With color theory, it is a useful tool. It is a very useful tool. And I find the best way to learn about color theory is to throw it out the window.
Yeah.
You throw it straight out the window.
All right. Yeah.
Do your own thing. Do your style, and you go, wait, why is that like that? And then have a look at color theory, and you see why you're doing what you're doing and how it changes the aspect of the model.
Okay. So your approach is more so to just paint with what goes with your gut, and when you see it's not working, then rely on. Oh, all good. Sorry, we had our screen blink there for a second and we panicked. But all good. We're still live and we're still going. Hopefully. But yeah, no, I get that because for me, I tend to go very much on the whole color theory, and I tend to be someone who methodically selects my colors and my entire palette before I apply paint to a model at all.
Yes.
And that's why I say once again, I get really frustrated by someone like you because you just paint for the sheer joy of painting, and it's only when you then stumble on a problem that you'll then rely on color theory and color modulation to sort of look.
It is like I said earlier, it is my anti-establishment way of doing things because of the whole art school saying you can only paint like this, you can only do this, you can only do that, and I decided no, bugger that. I want to do it my way. I want to do it my style. So I'm going to move to that side. Don't get me wrong. Color theory is amazing, and it works. And
it is key. It is very important. Yeah,
but I like to experiment because I'm doing something for fun and as a hobby at the moment.
Yeah.
Right. So I want to do something that's different. Not necessarily because someone else hasn't done it before, because I feel that's what I want.
I tend to do the same thing. I like to if I'm about to paint a figure, if it's not something that is within a universe, like the Deadpool figure, it very much that's the colors of Deadpool. And unless you want to experiment and go off kilter, you can. I'm the kind of guy who sort of once I've unpackaged it from the box, I tend to throw the box away because I don't want to emulate the box art. I don't want to replicate it in any way. I want to sort of take it in my own stride and in my own style without having to come out with an exact copy.
Yes.
So yeah.
But then on that note, every now and again, then once again, you've got to take everything and throw it out the window.
Yeah.
The Deadpool one you just showed.
Yeah.
that was like it is in the comics.
Yes, yeah. That's what I say.
This one on the screen now, this Coal Obsidian.
So this is a Coal Obsidian from the Marvel Crisis Protocol game. Just to give you guys an idea of its size, so that's my hand just next to it. But you should see a large shot of it on the screen now. And what fascinates me about this one is, Warren, you just recently finished this one up, eh?
Yes, about 2-3 weeks ago.
About 2-3 weeks ago, yeah. And what's awesome about this one is that sky non-metallic metal that you've got going on the armor. Do you want to sort of talk a bit about how you sort of attain that? Was it just a spur of the moment kind of decision, or did you always want to attempt a bit of a non-metallic metal?
So copy and paste. I looked at a lot of this chrome style of painting and stuff like that, and I just decided, let me try that out. Closed my eyes, decided on where light should be and where light shouldn't be. I didn't take light sources on this, so it's not exactly perfect, but I thought it looked quite nice at the end. And it was basically, I didn't read, watch, or learn anything. I just looked at lots of images of chrome while painting it.
Yeah. You see, that's something I've always testified to with any of my workshops and classes, is that real world reference is always still going to be the best reference that you could ever possibly draw from. And if you are attempting something like non-metallic metal with the sky earth effect, like Warren has very, very successfully achieved here, it's important to then have those reference pictures with you while you're painting, so that you're not just painting blind and then you get frustrated why yours doesn't quite look correct. You need that bit of reference, you need that bit of inspiration to make sure that you are following the outcome that you want to achieve.
And very important, look at multiple.
Yes.
If you look at one thing, you are going to get stuck.
See,
you're going to go in one direction and you're going to do one thing.
Very much so.
Look at one thing. Oh, that's how that guy does it. Look at the next one. Oh, that's how that guy does it. Push yourself into the middle of those two things.
Very much so. See, that's the thing. I'd listened to a TED talk once where an artist actually made one of my favorite statements, and that is that artists need to be inspired by many artists. So steal from many, but don't copy from one.
Yes.
So steal, inspiration, steal ideas, steal processes, techniques, and whatever from many artists, and bring that to bear on whatever work that you're working on. But try not to copy one single artist.
Yes.
Because then that's considered plagiarism.
Yeah.
In some books.
When you bake your cake, you're going to need ingredients from different things. You can't just use one single ingredient.
I agree.
I mean.
All right, but yeah, this is. Like I say, for me, it's always been wonderful to see Warren's works, because they do have a distinct style, a distinct color scheme, as we've mentioned, and I've always just loved Warren's approach, which has been not so sort of bound by rules and not sort of very strict kind of painting. You just paint for the joy of painting.
I've done commissions before, and when I do those, I do what the client is looking for. When I do what I want, I do what I want. I become the client. And you just got to experiment. Love, laugh. I mean, like I said right in the beginning, there aren't really any rules to art. There aren't. No matter what anyone tells you, that this should be like this and that should be like this.
So that's where I agree with you. For me, where commission painting is great, because it helps pay the bills, which is always very important.
And practice. And it helps
it is
a
good
lot
practice.
with the practice.
But for me, commissions become a little bit limiting, because you're always sort of trying to strive for what the client wants.
Yes.
And a lot of times clients come with a predetermined outcome of what they want to achieve with you as the artist. So many of the times they're sort of selecting colors and the outcome of what they want to achieve. But for me, where I've had the most fun is when guys say, well, no, there's no rules to this one. I want you to just explore and have fun. And that for me is when I have the most fun painting, because it's not bound by a color scheme. It's not bound by any rule system. It's more just for the joy of painting. All right. And then I know that you are starting to delve more into doing display pieces and dioramas. I know that you're busy currently working on one. So hopefully in the near future, and I think within the next week or two, we'll lock that down, that time with Warren down. Now, maybe we should do it on the live stream, so that way he can't back out. It's going to be recorded. But yeah, we want to have Warren join us for a live painting session. So remember what I was saying earlier, that the Discord is not about the Richard project. It's the South African Miniature Painting Community Project. So one of the upcoming live streams for painting is going to be with Warren.
so that you guys can then see how Warren approaches his painting, and you can have then a live chat and ask him questions about his processes and see how he then tackles his work. So that is definitely something we're going to line up with you. So I hope you're ready for that one.
Yeah, I'll do that.
Cool.
I want payment though. Payment comes with a joke per question.
All right. Okay. Well, we'll leave that to the chat, and we'll let the guys throw out the jokes during that and pay for Warren's services. But yeah, that's one of the things we'd like to do. So I know I've got Warren here today. Hopefully within the next week or two, we are going to introduce you to more of the artists. And I think that's the other purpose of the Discord, is to find more of you talented folks out there and get you guys to get out of the sort of quiet little caves that you are painting in and bring you out into the community and let people learn from you. And like Warren was saying earlier, it's important to learn from many artists. It's not viable to learn from one person and only pay particular attention to what they teach. It's important to learn from many. So, even though some of the live streams or the majority of the live streams will be me painting and working through some of my commissions and some of the projects that I've got in the pipeline, a lot of the times I do want to have live streams with particular artists. So Warren is definitely one of them. To give you guys a heads up of another one that's coming through in the pipeline, I've spoken recently to Vainant from Vake. Vainant, if you're out there, how's bud? But yeah, Vainant has agreed to do a very similar thing. So hopefully within a week or two at one of the upcoming live streams, we'll get Vainant to come out here, show off some of his work, talk about his processes and his approach, and then thereafter we'll do a live painting session with Vainant. So yeah, stay tuned. Hopefully you guys will join us for the Discord, and you guys can then join us along for this adventure and get to meet more of the guys in the South African miniature painting community. That's not to say you guys should stop, following the pros and some of the top artists overseas. But for us, it's more about focusing on South Africa as a community and not just sharing all our stuff overseas, but trying to sort of grow the local community, which is important to us. So, Warren, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me.
Appreciate you joining us.
Two things.
Yes.
You be you. And thin your paints.
Yes, please. Thin your paints. Yes. That I think is the only rule we'll have in our Discord chat to start off with, is if you're painting straight out the pot, you will be banned automatically from the group. So yeah, thin your paints. And Warren, thanks again so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining us. So what we're going to now do is I'm going to lead you guys into the next interview. Now, unfortunately with this one, we couldn't do it live. The gentleman that we had the interview with, Novak, unfortunately had some prior commitments to today's time frame. So we did a pre-record interview with Novak on Friday night. So you will see me wearing a totally different outfit and being in a totally different personality, perhaps. But yeah, just to give you a little bit of a tie-in, Team Sausage Designs is a small group which you'll hear in the interview with Novak and his partners based in the UK. Novak based in Johannesburg, and they just recently finished off a very successful 3D printing Kickstarter campaign. And they subsequently then reached out to me, and we are already discussing collaborations with upcoming Kickstarter campaigns, and they provide STL files, and some of their design work is phenomenal. And I think what I love about it is, it's locally based. It's a South African campaign, a South African project, and you'll see that there's some South African influence in some of their models. And that for me has always been the goal of Wildstorm Studios, is to get the South African community together. So this is one of those first opportunities that is starting to come to fruition. So coming up next is the interview with Novak from Team Sausage Designs, and enjoy. Good evening, Novak. How are you, sir?
Hi, Richard. Good, and yourself?
Good, thanks. Awesome to have you. Yeah, thanks so much for giving up your time. Really appreciate you giving up the time to actually sit and talk about this wonderful project. And thanks again for reaching out to Wildstorm Studios in the first place and approaching us about being part of your sort of journey into what it is that you guys are busy working on.
Yeah, well, thank you for taking us on and giving us a chance.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, I think my excitement comes in where it's locally driven, and that's the whole purpose of the Discord. It's the purpose of Wildstorm Studios from the get-go, is to actually grow the community and sort of start to link and network the South African creative minds together and start pulling off some of the projects that we see overseas, and we sort of want to emulate, and we sort of sit and we praise, but a lot of us forget we can actually do a lot of this stuff locally. So it was really, really exciting for me to have a bunch of guys like yourselves come out of the woodwork and be doing exactly what I always envisioned someone locally doing. So it was awesome to see.
Thank you.
Awesome. Tell us quickly just a bit about Team Sausage Design. Awesome name, by the way. Love the name. Tell us a bit about Team Sausage Design, yourself, your partners. I see you guys are also based locally and overseas as well.
Yeah. So Team Sausage consisted of 3 guys. One guy, Justice, he's currently based in the UK, but he grew up here. And I met him when I first moved to Joburg, and we hit it off. And he randomly, in the middle of COVID, called me up and he said, "Listen, I know you can model. I've got an idea. What do you think? Let's give it a shot." And I said, "Yeah, it sounds fantastic." And I brought in another 3D freelancer that I work with quite often, and asked him if he would like to join. And we had a team. And myself and Gerbrand, the freelance modeler, we would focus on the models, and Justice in the UK would focus on setting up the company and the websites and the admin and social media. So we had the foundation of something that could potentially work. And initially, we obviously didn't have a name to start with, so we very, very quickly, I think Justice just put up a little Trello board, and he called it Team Sausage because there's 3 guys. I know. And later on we just said, let's just stick to it, and here we are. Team Sausage Design.
Well, I like the idea, because if you think about it, with the 3 sets of minds and 3 sets of talents being sort of squashed into one, maybe a sausage is actually the ideal analogy there. But yeah, fantastic. And now you guys, of course, just recently had a successful Kickstarter campaign, which I see just wrapped up, and I also see you've also fulfilled your pledges and actually delivered the STL files to the guys. So yeah, tell us a little bit about the Swamp of Mordhelm and what it is that particular project entailed, and the journey that you guys have gone through with that one.
Yeah, cool. So we obviously we looked on Kickstarter and My Mini Factory just to see the general content that was out there. And one of the things we picked up on was there are witches and settings that play in that theme, but there was nothing really super realistic or super gory or horrifying. So we thought, okay, maybe there could be a market for something like that. And we drew on inspiration from, I think, Russia and Baba Yaga. So we just decided there and then, let's build a few models. And initially we wanted to maybe have 10 models, a very, very modest, small campaign. But as we started modeling, we worked on it quite quickly, and we generated more content than we thought we would. So we just expanded on that. And the Swamps of Mordel, we decided to be part of a much bigger universe that we plan on creating as we go along in time. And it would be part of Bratwurst, the world of Bratwurst, which is a play on Bratwurst, the sausage.
I figured as much. I was gonna ask that question when I read the background of the game system, and yeah, I couldn't help but think to myself, I wonder if that's got anything to do with Bratwurst. So yeah. I'm glad you cleared that up for me, and it wasn't just my crazy mind.
Yeah, there are a couple of models that we've added in little sausages just to.
I wanted to actually question that. So that's a lovely little sort of twist that you guys have got with your designs, that there's actually a little tiny sort of sausage hidden within each and every design. Is that correct?
Well, unfortunately, we didn't manage to put it in every design, but I think there are about 3 models that they're in there. But I think it's definitely something we want to carry on with. I think it's quite unique and fun, and
I think so, absolutely.
Yeah, so we just this is the first campaign as a test that we did, and we were fortunate enough to have it being a success. And we just want to basically expand on that universe, not necessarily swamps and witches. We want to make it a huge, very diverse landscape that gives us a lot of creativity and freedom to really explore things.
Mhm. Well, that's I think where I got quite intrigued when I took a look at your particular designs. That first of all, what intrigued me the most is that you guys were not just doing character models or terrain pieces; you were doing a combination of the two, which is
Yeah,
quite nice and unique. You're actually offering the entire sort of not only the playable terrain environment, but also the characters that live and dwell within that environment as well.
yeah. And it was, I think, I think we needed to do that just to draw attention and interest to the set. And we also didn't want to make our models and set pieces limited to any specific game. If you wanted to build a terrain that could possibly fit in the D&D section or anything else, you could play with that. And we based our tiles or our set pieces on open lock, so that you can, if you've got a table that's 4 meters long, you could print and make it as big as you want.
Yeah, and I think that's where the benefit comes in with 3D printing, is guys can actually decide how large they want to print it themselves, if they're
Yeah,
willing to forego the print time and the material used.
yeah,
But yeah, that is a wonderful customization that they can then implement themselves.
yeah, yeah,
All right.
yeah.
And then the other thing I wanted to really touch on is where my sort of passion comes into play, and that's the actual modeling and the design side of things. Because for me, my first attraction is to painting these things, and that's where I come in. I unfortunately don't have a lot of time for gaming, so I don't have a gaming background. But as a painter, I love beautifully designed models that bring a narrative and bring almost an atmosphere to them, and that's what I sort of got intrigued by your particular designs. Now you've actually sent me three samples down of the character models that you were very gracious to send down to us. So thank you very much. I look forward to putting some paint onto those. We
Yeah,
did a little bit of a teaser to some of the guys on one of our beta live streams about a week ago, and yeah, it sparked a bit of interest because for me, what appealed me straight away was just the uniqueness of some of the characters. So the first one was the female sorceress character. I can't remember her name right off the top of my head right now.
oh, we just called her a Wiccan.
Wiccan. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
we just called her a Wiccan.
What I loved was just the concept of the hands being wrapped around the face, and then there were the additional two that were almost forming a crown feature on her head. So
Exactly.
yeah, just such a unique concept. It almost also reminded me of the Kingdom Death range of miniatures. I don't know if you've ever come across those from that
I
particular board game.
I
It,
haven't, unfortunately.
they have a very unique, horrifying sort of design element to their models, which is what reminded me of your ones, of having that very unique, almost sort of creating an emotional response. You almost either love the thing because of its horrifying nature, or otherwise you hate it because you just can't make sense of it.
Yeah.
And that's
Well,
what's attracted me to it.
yeah, I got to give credit to Gerbrand.
Mhm.
He's very much into heavy metal and death metal, so I think the
So there's a bit
influence
of that
is,
musical influence.
yeah. But
All right.
it's exactly that. He wanted to create a crown
Yeah,
for
yeah.
this powerful character, and he
Mhm.
thought, and I'm sure there is content online that has that kind of stuff, but he loved it and he just went with it, and
Yeah.
she turned out great, and I love what he did with her gown, and he really put a lot of effort and detail into that, and
Yeah, no,
very,
like I say, I think she was one of my favorites. I personally am actually looking forward to getting a chance to put some paint down on her, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, and hopefully with during a live stream with the rest of the guys, so they can actually take a look. The other one that really interested me was um, difficult to explain because, like I say, I couldn't find any sort of character names for them on the Kickstarter. I've sort of labeled him the slave master. He's the chap that
yeah,
has the option to have multiple sort of slaves that are chained to him. And that to me, I just thought was such an incredible design concept, because instead of just having this one figure, and most game companies would maybe give you two slaves sort of attached to him with chains, and that's it. In your 3D design video, I see multiple characters attached to this one figure, which to me just seems such a unique and cool concept.
Yeah, we've got 3 characters. So because our time was limited, with how many characters we could create, because we set ourselves a time frame. We said 2 or 3 months. Let's see what we can pump out as quickly as we can. It was very fortunate that we went with that route with 3 followers that either have some kind of chains attached to them so that you can link multiple characters together. We couldn't build an individual army, so we decided, let's make 3 characters that you could actually just keep printing and then chaining to each other, and that way you could actually build an army with fewer models than individual, like 50 individual pieces.
Yeah. So in essence, almost create your own horde of characters by using the same print that you just simply sort of customize and attach to that one central figure.
Yeah. And I mean, he could attach to another figure that was the same as him, and you could just literally just carry it on indefinitely if you wanted to.
See, and that's what excited me. Like I say, it was just that unique aspect that you guys were bringing to the table, not only in the design, but in the actual concept of these figures being sort of enslaved and attached to him, which was really cool for me. The other one that stood out the most is the one that you sent out to me as well, was the buffalo. Now, taking another shot in the dark and going to throw this out there and see if the water buffalo, that South African sort of, typical African creature, was that a bit of an inspiration to the design of that one as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Unfortunately, we couldn't go too much in the African way. It had to be more of like a water buffalo, just to fit in, I think, within that world that we were creating.
Of course, the swamp environment,
Yeah. So we, at one stage we had one creature, and we said we need more creatures. And by that time, we had already modeled the altar with the rock and the sacrificial pit, and we thought, well, we need something that could possibly pull that rock up to sacrifice whatever the witch is interested in. So we went for the buffalo, and that's that. I mean, we designed him in a way that you also chain him up to the altar pit, but as well, he could quite easily be chained up to the other figures.
Of course. That's what I was about to say. And I think actually what got me excited about him is that I had actually seen the model before I'd actually looked at your video completely. So when I saw the model, the print that you sent out to me, immediately got inspired, because here was a locally, I mean, you could clearly see there was that inspiration from the buffalo, down to its pose and its anatomy. So that's why for me I got excited. But I think what blew my mind was when I watched the full video and then saw that you guys had actually had one linked to that sacrificial pit and the altar, and I just thought, what an awesome concept of having this buffalo as this either a single figure model or part of the greatest sort of terrain piece at play.
Yeah, it was very I mean, it was crucial for us to actually make everything fit together in that one set. And it's a thing we found actually quite tricky, because the way I model might not be the same way another freelancer models. And that's where we struggle a little bit, just to get styles going and themes working all within that same environment. And
I think that's crucial.
Yeah, and this is stuff that we were doing on our own time, in our spare time, and life gets in the way, and so that's definitely something that was a bit of a challenge. But we made sure that when we were going through the process of everything, either Gerbrand would take my models and have a look at them and see if there's anything he would tweak or adjust, or I would take his models and clean them up or cut them up or add whatever needed to be added. So I think there are still variations in the models that you could possibly pick up on style differences. But
Yes,
it's definitely something that we have learned and we want to keep in mind going forward, so that everything has consistency. Yeah.
Now to jump in there, and when you mentioned going forward, I noticed on one of the last updates on the Kickstarter was that you guys are now planning already the second Kickstarter for sometime November, December to go live already. Is that correct, or am I just reading wrong?
No, it's correct. So one thing we are seeing on Kickstarter is that smaller projects can do extremely well.
Yeah.
And obviously massive projects get a lot of attention and a lot of cash, but those are established companies and they've got teams of 6 to 8 or 10 people just modeling, which is a huge undertaking. So what we're planning to do is we've got an illustrator on board to work on a much bigger campaign. But in the meantime, Justice and I are going forward with a smaller campaign that should be out end of November, early December. And it's a set that will add to the overall world. It'll allow different sections that we model in the future to actually coincide with each other. It's going to be a smaller project, but it's going to be quite fun.
Well, yeah, no, for me, it's exciting, not only because of the fact that you guys are now riding off the confidence of the first campaign, which is a success, and having it be successful always gives you that little bit of a boost moving into the next campaign. But what I love is the fact that it's such short time frames. I mean, when you mentioned earlier, I wanted to jump in and say something, but I thought, no, let you finish talking, is that you started this during the lockdown, during the pandemic. I mean, that's only a few months ago. So to have already rolled out this first campaign, have it be a success, delivered all the STL files, and you're now already gearing up for the second campaign, which you say launches in about a month, is phenomenal. It's fantastic to hear that that's the kind of time frame that you guys can implement.
Well, it's got a lot to do with passion and interest, you know. If you don't have that, if that element is not there, it's just not going to happen. And Justice and I and Gerbrand, I mean, we have been playing games, not board games, but you know, we are passionate about that side of things and love 3D modeling and get inspired by it on a daily basis. I mean, Gerbrand is a professional 3D artist. I do some 3D, but I work in the visual effects industry, so we just feed off that content constantly. And yeah, as I say, if that passion isn't there, it's not going to happen. But you know, we try and be clever with our time and time frames. So you may think that the time frame is short for this next one, but it really is simple. But I think it's unique and interesting enough to actually pull some followers.
I think that's where you guys also have that added benefit logistically, is because you're not having to actually deliver the printed model after the fact, which I think is where a lot of companies tend to have the problem, which is with the casting,
physical,
and packaging and the actual physical handling of a product, whereas yours is purely on the STL file basis. So as long as you guys have got your design concept locked in place and it is appealing and it is attractive and also user-friendly for guys to be able to print, then it's just a matter of, you know, keep creating the designs and keep creating the campaigns and pushing them out for guys to be able to then pick and choose and, you know, invest into whichever ones appeal to them the most and print it out at their own pace as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You've just reminded me just one other thing that we've learned once we launched the campaign, a lot of people started asking us about pre-supported models, which is something that we didn't even consider. So halfway into the campaign, Justice had to do a lot of testing, and I think he found the most success with Prusa's auto support structure. He did a lot of testing with that, and he found it quite good. But yeah, because we're not actually physically delivering any product, as soon as we've gone through the testing, it's automatically transferred onto another file that we can just keep ready for delivery. And it is a huge benefit that we don't actually have to print them out and transport them and package them.
Yeah. Well, no, like I said, I think it's fantastic. I think it's awesome with the model that you guys have taken, the design element that you brought to the table, and like you say, passion is key, and I can see that coming through in the design work itself. You know, when the artwork speaks for the creator ahead of the game, it tells you that the passion's coming through in the work, and that's always a key element. And then, of course, the other thing I wanted to touch on is, as you move forward into the next Kickstarter, do you guys provide support to the guys that pledge when it comes down to printing? Do you guys provide them some support with regards to, you know, when they're challenged by their prints, and if there's any technical queries that they need to send your way, do you guys offer that support for them?
I think we mentioned on the Kickstarter, if you know, we are because we were a new team, fresh team, it's important that we didn't seem unfriendly or unsupportive. If ever there was a query, and we noticed that in the comments, when there was an issue or a query, we immediately jumped on it and you know, tried to solve it as best we could. But the main comments came with pre-supports for the actual models, which we unfortunately didn't provide for everything. I think we did for all the characters, but for the trees, for the pack of trees, I don't believe we did. But it's also something that you know, we are definitely aware of. We want to be supportive to our followers, because those are the people who are supporting us, making us follow our passion.
And I think that's key and very important, because, of course, the one thing that I've started to discover, and it's the reason why we've actually got 2 channels within the Discord that cover 3D sculpting and 3D printing, is not only, first of all, this fascination with this new technology and everyone getting onto the bandwagon and wanting to print things, but there's also this component of this massive learning curve and a lot of technicalities with regards to not only just your hardware, but software and, you know, so on and so forth. So because we've seen that massive growth in the community, because we're seeing a lot more guys now printing their own models, we felt it prudent to then make sure we have that same option for them in the Discord to then connect, network, find other guys, find other companies like yourselves, so that they can then spread the word, get access to the files, and more guys are printing at home and having that accessibility.
Yeah, I think it just makes sense, complete sense to do that. It definitely is a learning curve. I got my FDM printer a year ago, just before Comic-Con. And it was extremely frustrating. One day it would work, and the next day the prints looked like garbage.
I've heard a lot of horror stories, and I've dealt with a lot of horror stories myself as well when it comes to commission work. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah,
it's always fun when you sort of order one model and you end up getting about 6 or 7, because 5 of them were failed prints, and the printer just felt that he needed to show you that there were failures, and that he kept pushing to get the final result, and then I'd have my 6th or 7th model, which is the perfect end result. But yeah, there's a lot of trial and error. There's a lot of, like you say, a learning curve that is involved with 3D printing. So that's why for me it was exciting to not only have the Discord and start connecting these guys, because a lot of them were being born from the miniature painting community and the gaming community. And then at the same time to have you guys get in touch with Wildstorm and let us know what you guys are doing. You know, I just thought, well,
no better opportunity than now when we're launching this Discord to introduce the guys to Team Sausage and your fantastic Kickstarter, to get the guys to pay attention to the next one coming up. I know Albert is going to make sure that we've got all the tags and all the links and everything everywhere available for the guys, so they can find you out on Facebook and make sure that they connect with you and keep informed of the next one that you're launching.
Thank you, Albert, and thank you, Richard.
Awesome.
It's a great.
So Novak, please keep in touch with us and let us know of your progress when you've got that next batch of designs coming out. If you want to share them and let the community know what to look forward to and sort of share a bit of your insight into it, then by all means reach out to us, and we'd love to be able to share what you guys are doing, because that's all about what we stand for.
I have no plans on cutting my communication with you, Richard.
Awesome.
I was actually speaking to Albert before you joined in the pre-chat. Another thing that we learned a little bit too late is that a really nice painted model makes a massive difference for the campaign in the advertisement. So when I reached out to you, it was already quite far into the campaign, and we had already launched.
I think, in fact, when I actually logged on and took a look, I think you guys were 1 or 2 days away from actually closing the entire campaign. So that's why I couldn't sort of jump onto the bandwagon and spread the word too much, or sort of do it myself. So it was just a matter of poor timing.
Yeah, and I was kicking myself, because when I found you and I looked at your work, I said, why didn't we just look at this, a month before? Just a little better planning would have made a huge difference, I think.
Look, I also believe that destiny plays its game, and we can either rise to meet it if we choose, or otherwise just bypass it completely. So I'd rather have the opportunity that we've met. We've now connected with you guys. We've got the Discord now being made aware of you guys. We've got channels that are dedicated to 3D printing. To have someone of your caliber on the design side of things is also phenomenal, to have part of that community. So I look forward to it. And one thing to let you know as well, one of my personal goals was always to, as a local South African artist, trying to compete and trying to sort of put my name out there against some of the biggest names in the miniature painting community from Europe and abroad. You have these sort of delusions of grandeur that, one day you'd hope to do something like paint a box art, which is usually the model that then gets photographed for the packaging, and that's one of those little sort of goals that a painter has when you're striving to be, as good as you possibly can be. So I always had these delusions of grandeur that hopefully one day I'd have that opportunity. So to not only have that opportunity possibly, but to have it based on something that is locally made, locally designed, locally produced. Damn, I couldn't ask for a better opportunity than that. So, exciting times. Look forward to seeing more of your stuff. And, we're going to roll out the end of this interview with that little video from your Kickstarter campaign. Keep in touch with us and let us know about the next upcoming projects that you got in the pipeline.
Super. We will definitely keep in touch. I'll see you on the Discord.
Yes, please. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Richard.
All right. Enjoyed that one. Novak, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciated that interview.
But yeah, I hope you guys are now getting excited. It's exactly what the Discord is all about. It's exactly what Wildstorm Studios is all about, and that's connecting the South African painters and the South African creators out there. So hopefully you guys will now jump onto Team Sausage Designs. Keep an eye out for their next Kickstarter campaign. I think, like Novak said, around about November, December is the next small campaign that they've got going. And then there is a larger one that we are collaborating with them on that one. And I, for one, am excited. Yeah, to be able to collaborate on something like this kind of nature is one of those goals I've always had. But to not only do that, but do one that is locally based is, cherry on top. So really excited. I hope you guys look out for it. I hope you guys sign up for that one. And let's continue to support local. Local is lacquer, as they would say. So let's keep that up. But yeah, not to waste any more time, we're going to move on to the very next interview, which is once again a South African-based project. And this one is a very personal one to me. I've been involved with this one for about going on a year and a half, as you'll hear in the interview. And this is with Duran from TinToy Productions. Now, TinToy Productions have been working on a documentary called Paint and Plastic. There was a teaser trailer that was released a few months ago. And this is the documentary that sort of covers the purpose of this documentary and what experiences they had in producing the thing. And what it's going to do is culminate at the end of the interview with the final trailer for Paint and Plastic and the release date for the documentary. So keep an eye out for that one. It's right at the end of the interview. Let's shoot over to Duran and hear what they have to say about Paint and Plastic.
I just want to paint those figures, and they're so nice. Yeah.
So you're definitely into the painting realm these days. You've got to suck it in, huh? Awesome. All right. Well, Duran, how's it been? Thanks so much for giving up your time to join us for today's little interview and sort of help celebrate Wildstorm Studios' first birthday.
It's great to be here.
It's been an interesting and adventurous first year. And I think what's even more exciting for me is that this is culminating at the same time as your particular project is culminating. So if you want to just introduce yourself and let people know who you represent and where you come into with this interview.
Cool. So I'm Duran. I am one of the owners and founders of TinToy Productions, and we are a Cape Town-based video production company. And I started there. I mean, like I said, I'm one of the founders, but I started there doing editing, and slowly I realized I hate editing. So now I've become a director and a producer.
So you like calling the shots rather than
I think it's less calling the shots and more just being lazy. I think it's funny though, because like I went to film school to become a director and then I saw how they wanted to teach it, and I was like, no, I'm totally not interested in this. Then I decided I was going to become a cinematographer. 2 years into my course, I was like, no, I'm becoming an asshole. I'm going to become a editor. And then it's come full circle now with me directing stuff.
Yeah, but still within the realm of filmmaking, which I think you have a serious passion for.
Yeah.
Cool. Now, I wanted to sort of introduce everyone to the fact that you've been working on a documentary now for what probably about 2 years now, I think.
Let's say a year and a half.
A year and a half.
Let's say a year and a half. Yeah.
All right. And you are creating a documentary called Paint and Plastic.
Yes.
And it's a documentary focused on the realm of miniature painting and, from what I understand, its impact
with regards to mental illness and those who enjoy being by themselves with regards to their creative arts and that sort of thing.
Well, that's one of the themes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Now,
Not-
what
not- I
inspired
wouldn't
you
say-
to sort of create this documentary? And was that the first aim with regards to the documentary, or did it evolve over time?
So in 20 at the end of 2018, I just had my first child, and we just found out that my mother-in-law was like her cancer had just like gotten really bad, like terminal and stuff. And those like last 3 months of 2018 were just like really, really hard for me. Coupled with like a bunch of like stress at work and stress like within our family from all this trauma. Like painting was one of the few refuges I had, and my business partners were incredibly gracious towards me in that time, and they gave me a lot of space in that time to deal with what I was going through. And so at the beginning of 2019, I realized, you know what, I need to one, repay them by like working my butt off and actually just really getting better at my job. And that was a big thing for me, was actually like really trying to take me being a director more seriously. And you know, like if you're an author, they talk about like write what you know. So I was like, well, then as a director, direct what you know. So this idea bubbled in my head of like, why don't I make a documentary? What am I going to make it on? Okay, I'll make a documentary on miniature painting. And so you and I had met earlier in 2018, and I was like, okay, you know what, here's someone that I can connect with, and hopefully they can introduce me to the seedy underbelly of miniature painting within South Africa.
Yeah.
And it was quite cool because my cinematographer Chad, who you've met a couple of times, he was also just really hungry to work on a project of like a bigger scope than just something that where we interviewing someone in some like corporate office, or you know, just like, or like filming a brand, you know, let's
something where your creative limits are sort of pushed more so than anything that is on a sort of formulaic basis that you do on a regular daily routine, rather than something that makes your juices flow.
So he was super excited, and then so that I remember like we were driving home from a shoot that we were doing in Robertson, for Wine Farm there, and we just started brainstorming all these ideas, and like I remember the smile that was in his face, and that was when I was like, okay, cool, I'm gonna start contacting all these people. And so I started reaching out to the various members in the community, and that's where this whole thing started.
That's awesome. And I love the fact that the birth of this concept, the birth of this vision, was sort of born from a personal emotional connection to it as well. I find the same thing happens with miniature art, that there's certain personal events in my life that I can actually connect to certain projects because I was working on them during those times. So you end up pouring a little bit more of your soul into that work.
Oh, totally.
And that's where, for me, it's become very therapeutic in some ways. And I find that to be the biggest benefit, where you sort of forget about the rest of daily life stresses and you focus on the work of art that you're trying to create. So I'm sure you have that same sort of thing when producing a film or a documentary of this nature. So to tie it in personally is quite a nice thing to hear, that was the birth of the concept, and that at the same time is the benefit of the documentary and what it's actually trying to portray.
Yeah. Well, like
right,
I think definitely with a documentary, you have to care about what you're working with, because it's going to take a lot of hours in your life. Same with painting, right? If you don't care, put it down, like pick up another model, work on that until, and like I know there's a level of like passion will only get you so far, and sometimes you just need to learn the grind, but like inherently in your core there needs to be some sort of like, I care about this thing.
I actually find that the projects that have a personal connection or are personally driven, I have way more of a need to paint. I need to actually be sitting down and actually find I get frustrated because now I have to stop in order to go and do the daily routine of eat food and go to the bathroom kind of thing. Whereas I'd be more prepared to sit down and just continue creating because there's this fire going, because there's this personal connection, and it's a lot more fruitful than just painting a commission piece that is per recipe, per what the client is requiring. I'm not driven by it. I'm not sort of inspired by it. So yeah, fully understand where it is you're coming from. Now, yeah, like you said, we've been doing this for about now a year and a half.
Yeah.
And you're just about now ready to actually put this thing out into the world.
I don't know if I'm ever going to be ready. Yeah, like, I mean, once again, I think it's with all art, right? It's not. Nothing is ever done. You can always work on it some more.
And that critical need to always adjust and always perfect and always just improve on it. And that, for me, I get that completely. But it's for me, it's also that fear of when you've put in all this work and all this love and your blood, sweat, and tears into it, and now you're about to put it out to the world to be sort of commented on and reviewed and judged and so on and so forth. It's intimidating, especially for myself as an artist, because for me, my art is for me. It's not so much for other people. But I also know that in order to grow as an artist and to grow the community that is the purpose of Wildstorm Studios, I need to put my work out there. And it's always intimidating to go click, post, and then wait for the feedback. So in your case, I can imagine it must be the exact same feeling.
Yeah. Well, so I was preparing the full-length trailer that we'll be showing off later.
Yeah,
spoilers.
looking forward to it.
But like I was about to send it off to Albert, who runs the stream and stuff. And all of a sudden I got like super insecure, and then I had this idea of like, okay, maybe I should do this. And then I called up my sound designer and I said, Chris, can you just quickly relook at the sound? I've got this idea. Take out this, and this, and let's see what that cut looks like. And he was initially like, I don't know, I don't know. And I was like, okay, just do it. Let me see. Sent it off to a bunch of my creative council, and they were like, oh, dude, this is so much better. So I was like, okay, cool. So it was like literally last minute change on the
See, but those I also find are the most inspiring, in fact, or not so much the most inspiring, but actually the ones that surprise you the most as being the best parts of the work that you did. But I get that entirely. I know the story of Rogue One, the Star Wars story. That final scene with Darth Vader in the hall, in my opinion, is one of the best scenes of the entire film. And apparently it was a last-minute ditch effort by the director to just put a little bit of a tweak into the film. And apparently it was done at the last minute. They already had the film cut and ready to go, and he sort of threw this idea. They quickly filmed it and put it in. So nice to hear that you have that same scenario. You still have that same sort of need to quickly make an adjustment.
Yeah, totally.
Now, when you started the documentary, you had an idea of what it is that you were wanting to portray about the art form in the community. Was that vision withheld throughout the whole process, or did you find as you were interviewing people, things sort of evolved and the concept changed slightly?
Yeah, it's So originally the idea was, okay, we're gonna make this like thing that's like smaller, more manageable, in the space of like 10 to 15, maybe 20 minutes, and we're gonna touch on a bunch of these things. And then as we started to interview everyone, my eyes and my dreams started to expand. Oh no, we're gonna make this feature-length film, and this is the plot arc that we're going to have. And then after a while, I realized I don't think that's going to work. And it was last year in November. Last year, October, November were really rough for me, actually. I went through like quite a bad patch, like from a mental health point of view, but also from a creativity point of view. And there was a lot of like soul searching that I had to do with regards to this project, in terms of what I wanted it to be and what I needed to change to make it still work and stuff. Because it's like, yeah, there were certain elements that I wanted in it that just weren't coming through. And it's tricky because I think, look, the reality is I'm not a journalist, and I'm not doing this as a journalist. So I think this idea of like journalistic integrity, I mean, not that like I'm faking anything, right? But this idea of like, don't be too invested in the story. And the reality is, for me, as someone who's in the miniature painting community, I want to paint it in the best light as possible.
Yeah.
But not in a way that like we sugarcoating a poop. But more in the sense of I want people who don't care about this hobby to look at it with new eyes. I want people who don't know about this hobby to think like, wow, I mean, maybe that's something that I'd like to be involved in. You know, like in the say, there's this the documentary that won like an Oscar a while back. Everyone went psycho for is, man, I can't think what it's called now. The one about rock climbing. Like I'm sure people watched that and they were like, oh, I want to do. Maybe I don't want to do rock climbing like him, but I want to do rock climbing. So that was the idea, and so there was just some storylines that, like, from interviews that we had, that I just felt were detrimental to ultimately the message of the piece. And so then there was a lot of, okay, we need to like rethink everything.
Quick reshuffle, change things around.
So December and Jan, December of last year, Jan of this year, like there was a lot of like figuring out, okay, what is the angle that we're going to take on this? And so now the project has shrunk back a bit to something a little bit more manageable again. We currently sitting at, I think, 32 minutes. And so a joke that I've made, that only I get in my team, because I'm the only one who paints, is this is the 32 mil edition of the project. When Games Workshop or Scale 75 or Artist Opus or whoever sees what we've done and they want to sponsor us to fly across the world after COVID or the apocalypse is
when we're allowed to again, yes.
Yeah. And they want to send us to Spain, and I'm sitting across the table from like one of the like either Banshee or
one of the Spanish greats,
Aniel, one of the Spanish greats. You know, then that will be the 75 mil edition. You know, it will be a feature-length film. So that's the dream.
No, I think that's actually brilliant. What you don't realize is you've got a little marketing ploy there where you can say that it's a documentary on scale miniature figure painting that is actually designed now to scale.
Yes.
And fits within an exact 32 millimeter or 32 minute time frame. So I like the idea that you could then sell it as a look. You could even go to the 56 or even the 75 mil. But if they really want to go for it, we've got 110 mil figures out there. So we can go as big as we need to. But that's the one thing that I got from you with regards to what you were trying to do. For me personally, I enjoy documentaries. My wife and I love to sit and just sort of absorb documentaries that cover topics that we would never consider. My recent favorite is Speed Cubers. I don't know if you see that one, about guys with autism and doing the Rubik's Cube, which for me, I hate the Rubik's Cube because I can't solve it. So when I watched that, it was actually mind-blowing. But what I loved about it was that it showed you the true love of that art form or the story that it was trying to cover. So I like documentaries where the person making the film has more of just a journalistic approach, that they're trying to be just biased. Because I find a lot of times that most of those documentaries end up with sharing both sides of the story. And not really giving you any real answers that you as the viewer have to decide for yourself. Whereas I also enjoy documentaries that bring me into a whole new world, a whole new light of a topic that I never considered. And I come away with it with a newfound respect, a newfound love for it. And in hoping so, there's a newfound sort of drive to want to get involved with it or pick up a paintbrush and start painting. So that's what I loved about what you were trying to do and bring to the table for, the miniature painting community in South Africa, which is why I was more than happy to get involved and assist you as much as I possibly could.
Yeah, thank you for that.
Oh no, it was an absolute pleasure. And then, so look, we've covered a lot with regards to the inspiration behind it, and then fulfilling the project and trying to get it done. Give me sort of a background of what you then experienced. I mean, you got to meet up with a couple of the local artists and got to really sort of know the scene. You also followed us during Thunderbrush, which is Wildstorm Studios painting contest that we hosted last year, which was cool to have you guys almost follow on a sort of road trip process of interviewing the guys, building up to the contest and everything like that. So if you want to sort of just share a bit of what you experienced and what you sort of discovered along the way.
So what you're asking is to give away the entire plot.
Well, look, maybe just highlights or teasers.
No, I mean, more. Let's call it behind the scenes, right? I think it was quite interesting. I hate saying interesting because interesting says nothing, right? No, but that's just me being English nerd. What it was amazing to be let into people's story. I think that was one of the most incredible things, is that the candidness that people spoke, that artists shared with me, like some really personal stories, and that's kind of what really helped me be able to make the decisions that we made at the beginning of the year with the new direction that we were going to take the edit in terms of really looking at how the hobby has affected people in a positive way. And what's incredible, and I hope, I mean, this is praise from me, and hopefully he receives it as this, and I have spoken to him about this, is I look at an artist like JP, who's a member of the Wildstorm community. And
shout out to JP, it's his birthday today.
Yes.
This. So happy birthday, JP, if you're watching. You better be.
And he painted to really good standard, like a really good tabletop standard, and he paints exceptionally quickly. Like it blows my mind how fast he can paint stuff. But what I saw is, like, as we followed him, like he started to, I don't know if he started to believe in himself more. I think he does back himself, but like it was like that something came alive, that this hobby that like he enjoyed, and he's been painting for like 10, 12 years. There was something that like sparked in him through this process. That I look at him now, and he's painting like, because he was like, oh, I'm a tabletop gamer, and I'm gonna paint my mini so I can play with them. I won't play with a mini that's unpainted. Slay the gray, and like, and now he's busy painting up a bust like that he's modeling after his wife, and like there's this real seriousness that he's taking to his craft. And like I said, the last time we spoke, I said to him, dude, I think if you had to travel back in time and chat to yourself from a year ago, you wouldn't recognize that person, or they wouldn't believe that this is going to be them in a year's time. And that's really exciting. Like it's just,
that for me gets me excited, because that's the whole purpose of what I've been trying to do. But it's to tie in with what you're saying about confidence. That's what gets me the most excited, is seeing guys like JP, and even seeing guys like yourself. I mean, lately, the last couple of months, your work has taken its own style now, and you seem to be really enjoying that you're in a sort of painting realm that you are happy and comfortable with, and it's making you happy to paint, and it's also building up your confidence. I see you're painting up a storm, to not use the phrase too loosely. But yeah, that's the thing I find about this side of the hobby. And the art form, because most guys come in from a board gaming perspective. I myself wasn't as fortunate. I didn't get a chance to learn to play the actual games. I came in purely as a painter. But there are a lot of guys that start from the board gaming side, and it's when they get to grow confidence in their painting skills, and then they actually get to start believing that they can replicate the kind of work they're seeing online, and it's self-driven, and it's self-rewarding, and it's not something that you sort of attribute to someone doing for you. You actually now grow as a painter, and you gain confidence, and then that sort of flows into your work. But yeah, I love the fact that guys then become from board gamers more into the painting side, because there's a bit more of a reward for myself personally with regards to fulfilling a good piece of work that you've enjoyed painting.
Yeah. I mean, I'm busy. One of the campaign games that I'm playing now, one is Gloomhaven, and another one's Tainted Grail, and like to see, it's actually so Gloomhaven is quite funny because that was one of the first sets of minis that I painted. But the nature of the game is you unlock new characters, and so the characters are in sealed boxes. So I'm only painting them as we unlock them. So the game becomes this timeline of my growth as an artist.
Oh wow, that's
so
right.
Yeah. So you look at the pieces that I started on, and some of them are okay. Some of them
yeah.
And then you look at the stuff that I've painted now. I'm like, I'm moderately proud of this.
Yeah, look, I've got a model still, and I've shared it, I think, on the WhatsApp group once in the past of the very first model I painted. And to give you an example of how bad it was, much less the fact that it was a one-layer paint job of all the colors, but to show you how completely unaware of the realm I was in, the rules that I was playing with, or anything, I went and painted up a Chaos Space Marine and put him on a square base. This was, not quite, as I got to learn, was the case.
A no-no.
A big no-no, yeah, huge. It's like getting Star Trek and Star Wars mixed up. You don't get, Warhammer 40K with Warhammer at the time mixed up. It's just not on. So that first model is a very, very big eye-opening experience every time I look at it, because I've come a long way from that first piece. I think that's the other joy of the art form, is seeing that growth and seeing that progression over time.
Yeah.
All right, cool. But now, of course, you've now been following this for about a year and a half. I myself have been sort of trying to do Wildstorm initially about 4 years ago, starting with little private classes and little small groups, and then slowly growing it up to where we are today, launching onto the Discord and with Patreon and everything. But have you seen a growth with the miniature painting community since you started out with the documentary?
Yeah, definitely. I think man, I think this is, people talk about the golden age of board gaming. That it felt like it was 10 years ago, but it's like continued, and it's become like this. It's this golden age of nicheness, right?
Yes,
like when you're still a niche space, like it's so exciting, and then it becomes more accessible. And I think I really feel like we are on the cusp of that with miniature painting. I feel like the way it's growing, when everyone jumps on, as soon as like a celebrity vaguely hints at some sort of like geek related thing, we jump onto that thing, eh?
Yeah, very much so, yeah.
I've seen it within the Christian community as well. As soon as like a celebrity vaguely hints at any sort of like religious leadings, Christians are like, yo, this guy's Christian.
Yeah. He's one of us. Yeah. You're referring to that Henry Cahill one that
Henry Cavill, yeah.
Where he sits down to actually paint up miniatures, and everyone's like, he's one of us, gamer. Everyone went berserk for that. Yeah. Absolutely.
And I mean, like, everyone talks about like, Vin Diesel plays D&D, or I'm trying to think, Tom Manganiello. But like that he plays the coolest D&D game.
Yeah. Apparently he runs one of the biggest LA board gaming groups, or D&D group, and he's actually converted a whole room in his house into a dungeon, and
Tom Morello is part of his group, and I mean,
that's right. Yeah. See, but now that's what's exciting for me is that even though we've moved into this world of sort of digital interactivity, and kids are getting absorbed by Xbox and PlayStation and that whole sort of digital appeal, what excites me more is that miniature painting, board gaming is still going through this quiet boom in the background. And that's what makes me excited by the fact that this is more of a tactile hobby and more of a tactile art form, where you're sitting down with people and playing on the board table, or with regards to painting, you're sitting there and being creative, but you're not being absorbed by the digital environment. And that for me is exciting, because it's not losing that appeal. It seems to just be continuously growing and expanding, even alongside all this digital environment.
Yeah, well, I think that's like, because for me, I've been board gaming since like for the last 10 years, and I had a bunch of games that had minis, gray minis, and I thought, you know what, I'm never going to get into painting.
Yeah.
I don't have the time for that. I don't have the money for that.
Mm.
And then there was a Hellboy Kickstarter that I backed, and they said, oh, you know, add an extra £20 on, you get a starter set of paint, and that is how I got sucked into this hobby.
Mm.
And I'm so grateful for that. And I think with board gaming booming the way it has, I can see just like, you know, a couple years down the line, be more into miniature painting. And the reality is, and I think bringing it back to why I'm here with the documentary, it's highlighting those things. And because, like, for me, I work in a creative space, so you know, like, I get to be creative. No, I don't. I mean, I do. I try my best, but ultimately, if a client who's paying me lots of money to make their project this way says, no, Duran, we're not going to listen to your very good advice.
Yeah.
We want to do it this way, I have to do that.
Yeah.
Even though it might kill me creatively. So having this safe space that I can express parts of myself and pour some of my creativity into has been so incredible. And so I attend a couple of like group therapy things, and the one group, when I joined it, one of the leaders said to me, hey, like, you know, it's really important that you try to like not use as much, like you need to get on a digital diet, like consume less digital media and stuff. And I was like, dude, I paint for hours on end. So like this idea of you don't have to convince me on this. Like this thing of being able to like like you said, it's tactile. It's like, okay, cool. You know, I've got my brush in hand, I've got my miniature in hand, I have a podcast on, and I can get lost in that moment. And just meditate almost. And I think, I mean, these are all themes that have come through with every single person that we've interviewed. And like, you know what, if I can just get one person to watch this video and say like, wow, I want to try this out, that's a win.
Yeah. Well, that's the motto of every creative person, is that whatever you do, that you hope at least one person out there not only appreciates it, but hopefully gets inspired to pick up, you know, either a camera or a paintbrush and do the same thing. So that's always exciting. But yeah, Duran, to wrap up, you know, I for one am excited, can't wait to actually see the full documentary. I have seen the full trailer, which we are going to now premiere straight after this interview. When can people expect the full documentary to actually be released? When are you hoping to put that out? Or is that a case of never, because you're always working on it?
No, like I said, it's, you know, it's something can go on in production forever. And so to answer your question, people will see that at the end of the trailer.
Ah, sweet. Perfect. Okay, cool.
I've decided to be very bold and put it in plain black and white. So now I have something that I have to commit to.
Down and just commit to it. Yeah, sometimes it's the best way. Otherwise, you'll never get there. Yeah, I'm with you completely. All right, cool. So, and when you guys do release it, are you releasing it on a platform, or, you know, where will guys be able to actually watch the documentary?
So we are going to be releasing it on our YouTube channel. So what I would tell everyone now is please subscribe to the TinToy Productions YouTube channel. It's you'll see the links for that.
If I can, I'll sort of point everywhere, and Albert can maybe squeeze in a link for your YouTube channel for us, and get guys to log on.
But we'll also be posting it on all our socials, and because ultimately there was this discussion about, you know, do we keep, because for those that aren't in the know with regards to like releasing films, is a lot of festivals won't let you have your film online and show it at their festival. So if you put your film online, they're like, no.
It's no longer eligible for any sort of recognition.
Yeah, which is really frustrating, because if you want people to engage with it, and this is the thing, I want a community to engage with this piece because it's for them. You know, so it's like, oh, do I put it on festivals, or do I release it for the people? But But luckily, one of the good things to come out of COVID is that a lot more documentary festivals are being a little bit more relaxed because they've had to become these online things. So hopefully we can get into festivals. Hopefully people will we can get some more exposure. But I knew that for me, I wanted people to be able to see it. I want everyone who's worked on it, everyone who's been involved, and all their friends and family. And like I said, the dream for this is that this is part one of something much bigger. And for that to happen, people need to see it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, from my side, it's been an incredible experience, not only watching the whole thing from start to finish and the work that you've been doing. And it's funny how there's certain things that you've raised in the interview where I recall those moments when you were saying how you had this one vision and then it evolved, and the next time I saw you, it had changed. And I've followed that journey with you. And for me, it's been truly exciting because I cannot myself wait for this to come out, because you guys have truly done it credit by giving it a top class production. No offense to anyone who does sort of smaller production videos by themselves. You guys really brought resources to bear. You brought all the equipment and turned my living room into a small film studio, which was awesome to see. But I, for one, am truly excited because I'm hoping that it not only brings light to the art form, but it truly brings light to the South African miniature painting community, which is growing. It's there. It's starting to become alive. And hopefully with Wildstorm Studios and the Discord server, we can continue to grow that community. And if anything, Paint and Plastic, the documentary, will help spur that growth and get more people interested in painting miniatures. So, thank you. And Duran, we're going to then cut off straight from here to the full trailer, and I'm going to go run away in embarrassment because I'm always horrible at watching myself on the screen. But thanks so much for everything that you guys and TinToy Productions have done. Chad, big shout out. We look forward to seeing the full documentary. And if you want to know when that's airing, it'll be at the end of the trailer. Now,
When I switch on my lamp and I pick up a brush, everything melts away. You've created a whole narrative, a scene, almost like it's frozen in time. So you paint toys, that's nice.
I've seen that moment so many times.
It takes patience. It takes time so that you have the ultimate end result. This is where we get to disappear and explore a world of limitless possibilities. And that is where I have my most fun.
okay, so I hope you guys enjoyed that little interview, and I hope you guys enjoyed the culmination of that interview with the release of the full trailer for Paint and Plastic. Huge shout out to Duran and TinToy Productions. Thank you so much for allowing us the privilege of being able to premiere that trailer on the platform. I, for one, am very, very excited about it. It's become quite a personal project for me as well. So looking forward to it. So 18th of December is the release of the full documentary. Hopefully, we can twist Duran's arm and we can maybe do a live watch party here on the Discord for that documentary. So look out for that. Please don't forget, go over to the YouTube channel for TinToy Productions. Click a like on that documentary. The more likes, the more exposure it gets, the more possibility, the chance of one of those international companies picking Duran up and TinToy Productions and getting them to maybe do a full documentary on miniature painting as a whole. So thanks again, Duran, for that one. Really enjoyed that interview and that discussion. So we're starting to wrap up. We're starting to come up to the end of the live stream.
Just a few more, no less important things to cover. But I just want to reiterate once again, this is Wildstorm Studios' first birthday. So a huge shout out to my daughter, who even baked us a little cupcake to celebrate the Wildstorm Studios' birthday. Thank you, Gigi. Love you lots. So yeah, don't forget, Discord channel. You've got multiple tiers that allow you access to multiple channels, multiple avenues to be able to connect, share, and inspire others and be inspired. And let's grow the South African miniature painting community. And having said that, what I'd like to say to you guys is, from now on, moving forward, if you are a miniature painter and you're proud of your work and you're posting it on the social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, please throw in the hashtag TeamSA so that we can bring South African painters to the fore, and hopefully one day in the long run, when things change and we can start traveling abroad again, we can hopefully find ourselves a sponsor and get a Team SA to go overseas and compete in some of these international contests. So there's another goal and another avenue for you guys to work for and strive for and improve your skills on. So yeah, very excited about what's happening. Don't forget as well, we've put all the links for all the guys that we've had on today's live stream. So you can find Warren on his Instagram page. You can find Novak and Team Sausage Designs on all their platforms. Make sure you give them a follow. Make sure you look out for that upcoming Kickstarter campaign. And then don't forget to follow TinToy Productions. The more we support what they're doing, the more that everyone benefits, not only TinToy Productions, but Wildstorm Studios as well, but the South African miniature painting community as a whole. So don't forget to follow those links for us. That would be great. One of the other things that we want to just touch base on is that we are going to now move into the big announcement of the next biggest brand to arrive at Wildstorm Studios. Now, to give you guys a little bit of an insight to this one, when I started Wildstorm Studios, I was given the opportunity to choose a number of brands that I wanted to bring in. This particular brand was one of those brands. Unfortunately, our capital wasn't quite big enough to be able to cover them as well. But I am no less excited to finally have this particular brand arrive at Wildstorm Studios and become available on our store. So what we've done is we've created a little teaser video for you guys to announce the brand. So give us just 30 seconds as we swap over to that video. So don't go anywhere if you see nothing happening for 30 seconds. Just give it a second. That video will pop up. And as soon as that video is finished, we're going to announce a giveaway and wrap up the live stream. So don't go anywhere. And here's the announcement of the next big brand to arrive at Wildstorm Studios. So there you have it. The cat's out the bag. Big Child Creations are coming to South Africa. The parcel is on its way, so we hope it'll arrive any day now. And as soon as that happens, of course, you guys will hear about it first here on the Discord. So stay tuned. Really excited about that brand. I have looked and admired their models from afar for many years. In fact, I actually own one of their models, this particular one here, if you guys can see. I'm going to try and get it all focused in. Right, a little back, a little bit further. There we go. All right. And just to give you guys a little bit more of an exciting announcement, we are doing a giveaway. So we will be doing a lucky draw of all the tier 2 members on the Discord next week, Friday. So stay tuned for that. Become a tier 2 member so that you can be eligible for the draw and hopefully win yourselves a copy of Papa Jumbo, the Mighty Shaman. It's an awesome model. You guys will be entertained for hours trying to paint him. But yeah, the entire range from Big Child Creations is on its way, including the Celestial range that Big Child Creatives are the producers of and are distributors of. And at the same time, we also have some of their books coming in. So exciting times for that. So look out for that. Look out for the giveaway. Make sure you sign up on the tier 2 platform so that you guys then are eligible for that draw. We'll make that draw next Friday. So we are pretty much wrapped up. I think, thank you guys so much for your support. I think it's only with the support that you guys have given myself and Wildstorm Studios has given us the confidence and the courage to actually come out here and be on the social media platforms and put my face in front of a camera. Not one of my favorite things to do, but anything to help grow the miniature painting community in South Africa. So thanks for joining us. This particular video will remain on the public platform. If you want to share it to family, friends, even if you want to get friends and family to just support the community by, contributing to the tier 1 level and sponsor a cup of coffee, by all means, share the word, spread the word, get it out there, support the other local collaborators we're going to bring onto the channel. We've got lots of plans. We want to do another artist spotlight. Like I say, we want to get Valiant, who is the last winner of Thunderbrush 2019. So we want to get him onto the platform so you guys can then gain insight into his painting processes. We want to have Valiant also join us for a live paint stream as well. Warren, as you heard, is super keen and super excited to join us for a couple of painting sessions himself. I myself, like I say, will be doing live streams during the week where you'll be able to follow along on some of the projects that I work on. And as a full-time commission artist, there are a number of projects that I've got in the pipeline. So excited to share that with you guys. Friday nights, we'll have a variety show. So it'll either be an introduction to an artist or cover a topic within the miniature painting community. And then we want to aim for Saturdays to have workshops. So the workshops will vary in topic. But we want to cater for not only beginners, but for intermediates and advanced painters. So join us, be a part of the community, hashtag Team SA, and thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your support. And let's keep making sure that we can make this community grow. And as always, I'll log off with Paint Up a Storm.